Let's check back with Mark LaBarbera to see if he's having any luck. Who knows, maybe he fell asleep in the blind.
The trail camera told me which blind had the most activity, so that's where I decided to spend most of my time. When I finally did go, I did get outside, and the result was this buck following a string of does, one at first and then two, and they all follow the same path. So I lined up there and was ready. When that buck stepped into view for a few seconds, I put him in the crosshairs, took the shot, and he took off. I thought I had a good shot. Sure enough, he didn't go more than 50 yards.
That sure is a nice buck, and it's proof that scouting and using trail cameras can really pay off. We'll check in with Mark later in the show to hear the rest of the story. Trail cameras can also help you identify individual deer and sometimes follow their development over several years. Our videographer and editor, Dave Roll, keeps tabs on deer in his area, including this buck he's been watching for 3 years now. And this guy's unmistakable because somehow he lost most of his tail as a youngster. It's no secret that whitetail bucks drop their antlers every year in winter or early spring and then grow a new set over the summer. For some hunters, finding a shed antler is every bit as exciting as shooting a trophy buck, especially if they later kill that buck whose antler they found. Let's join my son John again as he goes shed antler hunting with the guy who wrote the book on the subject, outdoor writer and guide Joe Shedd, and yes, that's his real name.
Antlers are pretty amazing structures. So they're true bone. They're the only bone in the animal kingdom that grows outside of an animal's body. You know, they're made of calcium and phosphorus. As far as deer antlers, they probably are going to start growing around April, and by the end of August, early September, they have grown to their full extent and they've calcified and hardened, and then the bucks will rub off this protective velvet that grows in the summertime.
Man, these are open woods. So where are you more likely to find a shed, like where there's food or bedding?
You know, they can be anywhere really. The food is more dispersed. You know, when you're looking at brush, I mean, it's kind of everywhere, whereas a bedding area, a specific spot that a deer might be. So I'm always kind of more bed oriented.
Okay. How fast are you normally walking through the woods?
My pace is dictated by how fast my eyes can pick apart what I'm seeing, you know, and if it's more open, you can walk a little faster, or if there's snow on the ground and the only thing you're going to see is, you know, an antler sticking up out of the snow, I walk a little faster. Whereas in the springtime, like today, when everything just looks like antlers, you got to go a little slower. And I always keep my head kind of scanning back and forth, and my feet go, you know, at the pace where I can still decipher what I'm looking at. And you know, it's another thing is you got to kind of focus on what you're doing. Don't just be like I'm out in the woods taking a nice walk. I mean, honestly, like, you know, really think about what you're seeing, you know, and concentrate on what you're doing. And you'll have a lot of times where you're scanning back and forth, and all of a sudden you do like this double take, like, wait, what did I just see? And you look back, and then it pops out at you, and there's an antler sitting there, and or just like that.
What? No
right in the trail.
No way.
Look at that.
Oh my God.
Oh man, look at that. Sweet shed. Check this thing out.
Yeah, that's a beauty. Really nice.
Yeah, it's a decent sized buck. Certainly not his first antler.
Yeah.
Very
Boy,
cool.
you know, I wonder if the other pair.
Well, right, you know. I mean, sometimes they're together, sometimes they're nearby, sometimes they're just not. But we'll definitely check around and
nice
see if
find.
Yeah, thanks.
I think I'd like to find one too. I mean, there's a trail here. Maybe the other half is down the road here.
Yeah, check it out. I'll keep going on the trail and see if we get lucky. We got this little, you know, cluster of balsams here, John, and a lot of times the deer use these for shelter. I mean, we're on the south edge right here, so if a deer wanted to lay right here, you know, with a north wind, you know, he'd have this protection in his back, kind of blocking the wind, and then he can just lay here and soak up the radiant sun, and it's a little bit warmer. And you know, as you do more shed hunting, you're going to walk blindly through the woods and stumble on an antler. But the more you do it, you've got to just kind of try to put the odds in your favor and really try to understand why the deer are where they are and what they're doing. You know, so this is a spot that I would specifically look at rather than just, you know, walking blindly around. This is something that, you know, I would be drawn to try to look for
more
sheds.
time here than in the swamp.
Yep, and you know, in the wintertime, they're going to spend most of their time either eating or resting, and so, you know, probably half their time resting. So they do just bed in these areas quite, you know, for hours at a time.
Oh, this is quite a trail.
Yeah, so they've definitely hammered it down. So you can see here, you know, the deer have been browsing on this as they've been walking down the trail. You can see a lot of these branches are nipped. Yeah. So, you know, that indicates that, you know, deer have been in here and, you know, actively feeding.
Well, deer kind of eat as they walk.
Yeah, they're natural browsers. So, yep. They've been in here, so hopefully there's some sheds. So a place like this, you know, we've got a little cedar swamp down below, and then we're up on the south-facing hillside here that's going to get a lot of sun exposure. It's got some young balsam in here, so it's got a lot of good elements going on. You know, a good bedding spot with, you know, brush right here for them to eat. You can see they've been eating here.
Yo, I found one.
You really?
No, for real, I really found one. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. What do you got?
Right here.
Sure that's not a stick?
Definitely not a stick.
Oh man. Well, that's been there for a while.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Wow. Oh, look at that.
Whoa.
That's a nice one.
Cool. It's not a bad buck.
Well, 8-pointer. 48.
Northern Wisconsin buck. Nice. Yeah. So how far away were you when you saw it?
You know, it's funny. I was standing right here on top of it, basically.
Pretty much standing.
And yeah, I was kind of getting hungry, and I had a little beef jerky in my backpack, and just kind of standing there. I was like, "This is, you know, a nice spot." And I looked. It was at my foot. And I was
wow.
Like,
wow. Is that your first shed?
This is my first shed.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's pretty cool.
Thanks for taking me out. I mean, it's unreal.
Yeah.
Well, we really lucked out on the weather. I mean, I wouldn't want to be doing this in the mud and the rain.
Yeah, no, it's cleared up. So, and the snow's all gone earlier this year. So
yeah, it's incredible.
Deer numbers continue to increase across the Southern District, and last season's harvest was up 19% from 2019. That trend should continue this year. Habitat varies from the wooded ridges and coulees of the Southwest to the flat, productive farmlands of the South Central counties. Deer are more abundant in the western and central counties, but there are opportunities to take multiple deer and quality bucks throughout the region. Most deer in the Southern District are harvested on private property, which makes up more than 90% of the landscape. However, excellent deer hunting can also be found on county, state, and federal lands as well. Hunters who scout in advance to locate food sources and travel routes will have the best chances of success. Baiting and feeding are now prohibited in all 18 counties of the district.